Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hopeful Hearts podcast. I'm your host, Holly Perda, and in this month's episode, we are going to be talking about healthy coping skills. This special guest is not only resilient, but she is a huge inspiration to those in the mental health community.
Hello everyone! Today I have with me Erica Black.
Hi!
If you would like to introduce yourself.
I would love to. Yes, Erica Black. That's my new name, so I'm still getting used to it as well. But I guess, where do I begin? Well, first I'll start with how I met Holly. So, I guess back about a year ago or so, maybe-ish, I was working at Keuka College, where Holly goes to school, and we got to know each other through her admissions process and, time during her first semester. And it was fabulous. I work in admissions, and so from there, I actually made a transition. I'm currently working at my alma mater, which is SUNY Geneseo.
Oh, yeah.
Happens to be where we're filming the episode.
Yes.
And I currently serve as a director of transfer and graduate admissions. But along with all of that, I have a passion and I feel a sense of purpose with the subject of mental health and, advocating for, better mental health support, sharing my story. And that's something that Holly and I have really bonded over.
Yes, and I love that so much about you. She's such an influencer, guys.
Wannabe.
No, she is, trust.
Thanks. My biggest fan.
Yes, I am. #1 fan of Erica.
Aw, I love that. And I try to use my social media platform to do just that and share, more of my story and how, maybe others can feel less alone in the mental health space.
Which takes a lot of strength and resilience, like the resilience panel.
Yes, Holly got me on a resiliency panel at Keuka College. She nominated me, maybe?
Yeah, I did. I was like,
okay,
Erica would be amazing for this. And she's like, whoa, wait.
Honored. Yeah, that was so amazing because that was my first time sharing my story in more of a public platform. So it took a lot of guts to get up there, and it was a little nerve-wracking, but I feel like it really sparked more opportunities like this. So I'm super excited.
And she did so good.
Aww.
She did so good. I wish y'all were there. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about your mental health journey?
Yes. Let me think where I want to start. So, I guess mental health has always been something that's been a part of my life and my family. It's something we've talked about, and family members have struggled with their own mental health in different capacities. So, but for me, growing up, it wasn't exactly something that I had really faced head on, and so kind of was living my normal everyday life, growing up, and in a lot of ways, I'm really blessed. I had a great upbringing. I had a pretty, easy kind of life, didn't really face a whole lot of adversity is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So then when, fast forward to my mid-20s, I got a new job working at Keuka and was really excited. I think I was really looking forward to the opportunity for a new clean slate and to really start taking my career more seriously and, wanted to make a good impression. And I saw opportunity to work my way up the ladder at that point. And so I was really looking ahead and had all these grand goals for myself. And of course that came with putting a lot of pressure on myself and, high expectations. That kind of perfectionistic mindset was very real. I know a lot of college students deal with that too, right? But of course this was to a unique extreme. And, as I was kind of working at that pace, it started to really snowball into, minimal sleep and lower appetite and, really just not taking care of me, right? Putting the work first. And so, I think others in my life at that point noticed, but at the same time they were like, oh, she's just a really hard worker and she's just really disciplined. And, and at surface level, that's what it looked like, right? So I don't think it was as obvious to folks that I was struggling and really not even obvious to me at that point. Yeah, I think it wasn't until those behaviors and the limited sleep and the intense stress took a more significant, serious turn that I, started to realize I had this heightened sense of energy. And that was when, close family and some friends started to notice too. And I started to express that I was concerned about my own well-being. And so during that time, of course, we took the right steps to get professional help. And, I shared this on social media. I pretty unexpectedly entered the hospital and then spent some time there. I was ultimately diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder, which I learned there are 2 different types. And so that was, a lot to take in. And it was, something I wasn't expecting, like I've mentioned, and, kind of slapped me in the face, if you will, right? It was like, wait, what? Like, I have a label attached to me now? Like, what does this mean? I know that this is really serious. And, from there, it was a whole lot of learning and, treatment and figuring out what worked. And it took a while to get there. But, 4 years later, like, I'm, able to live this really magical life in a lot of ways that I feel like I've established. I mean, life still has its ups and downs, quite literally, right? It's still something I navigate day to day. But I've been able to find routine and, stability in relationships and success with career and, fun hobbies that like make me happy and the most amazing support system. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of my story and, excited to talk about it more.
That's why you're such an inspiration.
Thanks.
She really is. She's so inspiring.
Oh, you're
Her
so
story
sweet.
and everything. No, I'm being so serious.
Yeah, no, it means like so much. I mean, honestly, like the resiliency panel, I don't, give that enough credit, but like that experience was, I was so honored that, you saw something in me and Abby saw something in me to share that because, when you share something like that on social media, you can't take it back, right?
Yeah.
Like it's out there, but I'm so like grateful that it has touched people in certain ways. And I just know that it's had an impact and that was my goal when I did that. I knew that there were risks that I was taking, but at the end of the day, and I can get into that in a little bit, but that was a big part of why I shared. So
yeah, and I feel like you're like helping other people too because you're sharing your story and then it makes them feel less alone.
That is
which
the
I
goal.
love that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Who would you say was your biggest support system along the way?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I think, I had a family member growing up who, eventually when I got to a certain age, they had shared with me that this was something that they, dealt with around the same time that I ended up being diagnosed. But at that point in my life, I maybe was like, I don't know, my teenage years when they opened up to me about that. I didn't really like understand it,
Yeah.
It wasn't something we talked about a whole lot. Again, it was kind of that like, oh, like, that won't happen to me. But, of course, come, all of this that happened 4 years ago, that person, like, thank God for them because it's really hard to talk to people about this who don't fully understand, right? Like, they've never really lived it. They don't know what that high feels like and then, like, the low that, kind of came after. And so if it weren't for having that person, I think it would have been even more challenging. So number one support system for sure was that family member of mine. They were just kind of that continuous like reminder that it's going to get better. Like we're going to figure out a treatment plan for you that will work. Like this is temporary. Like this healing is temporary. That's why there's medication. That's why there's therapy, like all of these great things.
And it gave you like hope.
It gave me hope, exactly. And like that's what I really needed at that time. Beyond that, I mean, we. Two people. Sorry.
Erica's 2 people now. She's online and she's here. Influencer. Oh my God.
You're so funny. I think I was trying to get at.
Sorry.
I think I was trying to get at like my husband.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes I refer to us as a we.
As a
like
we.
we're package deal in a lot of ways, and he is my best friend and best thing, and he was there for me through that time, which I think just speaks to our relationship and his support. He, has been my rock. So that has been such an amazing, blessing that I have too. I think just like I did share initially with some friends because it was kind of my everything at that point. Like I couldn't not, I felt like I couldn't not tell them. And I'm so glad that I did, even though it was hard to do that because then they understood where I was coming from and, they could check in with me and yada, yada. I had a great medical team who, we trialed different drugs and not everything worked initially the way that we wanted and so it was great to have open communication with them and regular appointments so it was a lot of different people that made this possible for me to kind of like carry on life the way
Yeah.
that I wanted to. And that's why the support system piece is so important.
Yeah, no, it is. Like to have that like rock there for you.
Yeah,
so
it would be
important.
really hard to go through this alone. And again, the reason I'm sharing, you know, more openly is because some people don't have anyone in their life who understands, right? This isn't the most common, you know, condition. And so I think even if it's like maybe finding like a support group, like I haven't actually done that yet, but like I think that could be interesting, or maybe an idea for people who are going through like mental health
Because then they won't feel alone, and then there's other people with similar stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of like great information. You know, obviously you don't want to read everything online because some things are not the most helpful or the most factual. But I think finding like support through communities online might exist, or like NAMI is you know, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. It's a great like nonprofit organization. I went to like a NAMI walk one time with my family.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was nice to just feel like connected.
I love that.
Yeah. So many things, but
There's so many things.
So many
like
things.
spread awareness.
yes,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing more and more like Holly's podcast, which I think
Like the podcast.
is incredible. So
Well, thanks. So, what would you say are ways that you cope with your mental health now? And do you have like certain routines that you do to help?
yeah, I'm sure you see all the routines on the Instagram.
That's why I asked.
So we keep referring to this social media, my Instagram page, where I like to share a lot of these
should go
routines.
follow her.
I do have a love for like an aesthetic moment, so I do like to share in like a creative way, I suppose. But I think over time, this is something I've really learned more recently. So we probably haven't talked about this yet, but I think
that's new. Sorry.
Yeah, something I'm unpacking with my therapist is that sometimes having too rigid of routines is actually setting me back. You know what I mean? I think sometimes I create this expectation that like my day will only be perfect if I do like XYZ, you know, tasks in the morning and XYZ things at night. And I'm starting to lean into that that's not always realistic. And I think we see a lot of that on social media. And so hopefully I can start sharing, you know, on that platform too. Like that's not really my MO these days. Like I'm happy to do a little TikTok scroll once in a while that's gonna make me feel a little bit more calm. Or like I'm gonna watch Love is Blind sometimes at night instead of reading because like I want to, you know what I mean?
You can switch it up a bit. It's
we're gonna switch it up. Like we don't have to be perfect. And I think, or even like I love a good podcast. Like I love listening to Mel Robbins and like these, you know, like self-helpy kind of podcasts. But I think it's also healthy sometimes to not always be listening to something while you're doing another thing and just trying to be a little bit more present, I guess is what I'm getting at. But specifically for my mental health diagnosis, something I'm really actively trying to do with even career and just life is like setting boundaries, you know, when they're appropriate, professionally, personally, you know, just trying to make sure I'm prioritizing sleep. That's like really important with this condition. Stress, of course, easier said than done. I have this Aura ring, which sometimes I feel like for better or for worse.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's really advanced, like what it can do. Do you have one?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're so snazzy. I wish.
Sometimes I think it could make me more stressed. So we're trialing it.
Yeah, honestly, so I have one of the Garmin watches, and it's funny because it tells me, it's like, you gotta relax.
Yes.
Like, it gives me an alert, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like, me when I was driving here, it's like, relax. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
But see, there's like some healthy stress too. Like maybe you were just excited for the podcast. Yeah, you're so right. Like sometimes I think I almost get in my head about it. And it's like, oh, I'm trying to relax, but like I'm
I know,
not.
it's like you try and then you're like, oh, and you're like, oops.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, of course, some semblance of routine, you know, has helped. But I think what I'm just trying to get at is, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the day doesn't have to be perfect. Something that also I think helps maybe indirectly is like when I eat healthy I, you know, tend to feel better and maybe manage my stress and sleep better. So it's like maybe a correlation.
You make really cool like food platters because I see that and I'm like, girl, I wish I had that.
Yes, I love like a like a meal prep, like a high protein meal prep that's actually fun. Like it has to taste good. Yeah, I can't be like chicken and broccoli and rice. Like I gotta have a sauce, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like it's aesthetic too. Just saying.
Thanks. I know I try.
She's so aesthetic, guys. My inspiration is right
I have
here.
to keep up with the aesthetic, and I'm like, Oh my god. Life isn't always aesthetic, but I love it at the same time.
No, I love it. And like
It's a
your little
healthy
like
balance.
recaps too, and they're so cute.
I know. It takes so much time. You did one recently, and I was like, yes. But I need to find a way to make it sustainable, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like time consuming.
It is,
But
it
it's
is.
important. Like I
Yeah.
like sharing. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm trying to do like more informal sharing. Like the other day,
Oh,
I just hopped
yes.
on. I was like, I want to show you my little home gym. Like it was very like
Yes.
random.
I love that.
It's just like a little bit more authentic
Yeah.
too. So
That's true.
stay tuned, Holly.
Yeah. I'll stay tuned.
Yeah. We'll still try to keep it cute, but you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah. No, because I'm like a little like not realistic because I'm trying to do like once a week. I'm trying to
Yes.
but
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
That feels like, you know.
yeah, it's like
not
something I look
overwhelming,
forward to. Like
hopefully.
when I know that it's like I just like posting it and then sharing it because I'm like, oh, this is so cute, you know.
Yes.
But like sometimes it's a lot of work because I try to
Yes.
take like personal pictures from it. You know, I don't want to just use like
yeah.
AI or other pictures. I want to use like,
Right.
oh, this sunset I took. You know,
Yes.
like those kinds of things.
You want to own it.
Own it,
Right?
yeah.
Own it.
Own it. Put my own little spin on it.
I love it. You're crushing it.
Oh, thanks.
Amazing.
So, you kind of talked about this already, but like, what made you want to share your story with others?
Yeah, so I did kind of hint at that. So something that really struck me was when I was still working at CUCA, I had this moment with a student who I could tell was having a really hard time, and I obviously reached out and offered my support. Not a counselor, obviously, but just wanted to see if there was anything I could do or like direct them.
Yeah.
And I knew the student well enough where they, we had an established relationship, and so they felt comfortable sharing with me that they were actually dealing with the same diagnosis. They didn't know though that I shared that diagnosis.
Yeah.
So it was this really interesting moment where I can tell they were really, in the throes of it and having a hard time. And of course, they needed professional help. But I could also tell that they felt like just really alone. And that was the hardest part. And so that was the moment. This was before I actually shared on social media, but I just kind of took a leap of faith and I was like, listen, I think it's important that I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I just went through this, a year or two ago. And it was like the student had this, aha moment where, they verbally said next, I've never met anyone else who can say that.
Yeah.
And it was this, that was kind of my realization that, I could be making, a larger impact if I share more widely. So,
Yeah.
and of course that student, then went on to get help, and I'm happy for them, and of course hope they're doing well. But I think it's just really important that we normalize this because it can
Yeah.
feel like that there's just no one who can really understand and relate, and that there's again all this stigma surrounding
Yeah.
it, that there's maybe not a way to live a normal life.
Yeah, the
beyond.
stigma makes it hard with everything too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
100%. It's tricky. And of course other, there's loads of other mental health disorders that I'm sure there's a similar challenge for people with. And so I hope that maybe by sharing, maybe someone else will share and they will
Yeah.
kind of have, or maybe now that someone knows that I deal with it, maybe they're like, oh, I have a friend who deals with
Yeah.
that. Now
a
I
little,
can let them know.
Ripple effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So
Yeah.
that was the intention, behind a lot of why I posted it that day. It was Mental Health Awareness Month, so it
Yes.
felt like an appropriate time to share and
Yeah,
to
I love
donate.
that.
But I think I'd love to do more things like this. So look at you,
Yeah.
giving me more opportunities.
Yes, publicizing Erica.
Yeah, I'd love to share and, different types of platforms, because I think not only college students, but I think, professionals, this
Yeah.
happened at a time, I was out of college. So,
Yeah.
it was an interesting period of my life to be going through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
wow.
seems like that's what your podcast is all about too.
It is. Yeah, and this is such a special story too. I just
Aw.
oh, you're such an inspiration. I keep saying that 500 times, but it's so true.
Thank you. That really means so much, when I hear that, because to this day, I want everyone to know, I sometimes look at that post and I'm like, oh, did I I'll be authentic. Did I make a mistake by sharing? And I think that's just part of living kind of in this time where mental health, is not always the most widely accepted.
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah.
about the struggle and advocating. And so, there have been times where I'm like, oh, was that gonna maybe affect XYZ for me down the line,
Yeah.
like career opportunities or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, anytime like that thought pops in my head, I'm like,
You're like,
no,
nuh-uh.
I just think about the people like you and like
Yeah.
the people who have expressed like gratitude
Yeah.
for that.
Like you can connect with them. You got this. You were on the panel.
right.
It was so funny to me that like I put you on the panel like because I like recommended you and then you
heard.
didn't know when you were up there and I'm like
did
this
it.
is
That's
so
right.
funny.
Yes, 'cause I
Yes.
learned after.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And
amazing.
it was so like it was just like oh she's not gonna know yet and
You're
I was
so
gonna
sweet,
tell
like
you
for not even like
Yes.
that must have been hard to keep that in.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Aw.
oh, because it was my idea, and I was so excited. I'm like, she's gonna be so good at it. And I was when I saw like your little picture on there, I'm like, this is so perfect. Like, I know she's gonna do great. Like,
Aw. on my old headshot.
Yeah.
And like I was so glad to do that. I felt like I, really prepared what I wanted to say. This you're kind of like getting a different version because I'm just kind of being a little bit more myself and
Yeah.
authentic. But I think it's important to, a little less rehearsed, and I'm just trying to share, I guess,
Yeah.
more candidly.
yeah, no, and I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So finally, what advice do you have for those that are struggling with their mental health?
It's a hard
That's a
question to
tough-
answer.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not
a tough
gonna lie.
question.
And it's only
Yeah.
tough because there is such like a wide spectrum, right?
Yeah.
I think the first thing I would just say is like don't be afraid to ask for help. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think like there are so many people who want to support you that you might not even like
Yeah.
realize or think. Sometimes I try to put myself in like a friend's shoes or a family member's shoes. Like if if someone came to me and was dealing with this like level of concern or whatever, like I'd want to help. Like it wouldn't be
Yeah.
a burden. Like I'd want to see them, get better and take care of themselves and thrive. So yeah. And then I would just say like you're really not alone. Like there's a lot of people dealing with this who just don't talk about it as much. But
Yeah.
I think finding like support in that and maybe finding opportunity to connect with people who like truly do get it,
Yeah.
is important. So
Yeah, that's very important.
yeah. I just want to say thank you so much to Holly for asking me to be a part of this. I mean, I'm just so impressed at like this community she's developed and this project she's been working on. It's really important work that, I wish continues to happen and like more people start to do and are inspired by it. I'm sure they already are. And so I just want to say thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Of
I really
course.
appreciate it.
Yes, happy to.
Yes. So
That's a wrap.
Wait, that's cute.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Hopeful Hearts podcast. If you haven't already, please go check out season 1 or other episodes that I have to offer. And please don't forget to subscribe, share this with your family and friends to promote this podcast. I'm very grateful for you all, and stay tuned. Peace out, Girl Scout.